Hello again, my fellow modelers. Boyd here with you, and welcome back to TrekWorks. Well, we haven't done a model kit review for you guys in a little while on the channel, so we thought we better get one of those under our belt here. And today we're going to do not one, but two model kits for you. You can see here on the left we have the Star Trek USS Enterprise bridge set that's just been recently repopped and released by AMT Round 2 models. And here on the right we have the Moebius Battlestar Galactica Colonial Viper Mark I kit, which was the ship that was used in the original TV series of Battlestar Galactica from back in the 1970s, not to be confused with the newer version of Battlestar, BSG 75, which started about 10 years ago. And the Viper there is molded in 1/32 scale, and the bridge set is somewhere around 135 to 137 scale. There's no official markings of scale on the box or the instructions, but it's been assumed over the years, since the 70s when this kit was first released, that it's been right around somewhere in that scale, 135, 137. So what we're going to do today is we're going to start off with the Enterprise bridge set, and we'll take the lid off of the box and take you inside and have a look at all the parts and pieces that come with it. We'll be right back with that, guys, and we'll get it all set up on the bench for you. Stay tuned. Okay, everybody, well, let's take a look at our USS Enterprise bridge set first, alright? Well, you can see that I have the old kit, the original kit from 1974 here, right next to it, so you can see the changes they made in the size of the box, which is obvious, but you can see that they lifted the box art from the original and moved it over to this one with a slightly darker background, but we still have the original graphics here. Here on the side panel you can see we've got one of Matt Jeffries' original drawings for the layout of the bridge from the original television show. And here on the side panel on the other side we have some nice full color shots lifted right off of the series itself, showing some different angles of the bridge. Probably the most interesting part of the box art here is at the back panel. And you can see in this shot here we've got a really nice full color picture of the assembled model kit. And now you can see that we include the full circle in this, where the original was just a 3/4 circle. And you have now these included figures and some extra additional parts that are included with this kit that didn't come with the original. Although if you take a close look at this and you're kind of a detail person, you follow Star Trek closely, you kind of notice right off the bat there are a lot of inaccuracies about this model kit. But it's a basic replica of the bridge, and it's a nice display if you build it up. There is a complete resin bridge kit available from Don's Light and Magic, although it's kind of pricey, but it's the entire bridge itself. Basically all you use from the original kit is the floor parts, but you get all the walls, and you'll see that Spock Station and a few other areas and the view screen area on the DLM parts are quite a bit more accurate than this kit is. But this is about a $25 model kit, so it's a really nice display, and if you can do some lighting on this, it really makes it pop, and we'll talk about that lighting here in a little bit. Let's go ahead and take a look at what's inside real fast. We'll move the 74 kit out of the way temporarily, and we'll bring that back in a second and show you some comparison parts here. I've got my scissors here so we can open up some of these bags and take a look. Right off the bat you can see that all these parts are molded in plain white styrene. The detail looks pretty crisp on these. I'm not sure if they retooled any of these molds or not, but they still look to be in pretty good shape. I don't see any, just from a quick glance here, I don't see any major pitting or anything like that going on in any of these parts. And you can see that again, they're nice and clean. Now the nice fact about this is if you wanted to light this kit, you can basically do a little bit of light blocking painting technique on this. In other words, mask everything off here and put some bright LEDs on the back side of this. Being it's molded in white, the lighting should come through there pretty nice, and if you put the decals on top of this, you should be able to get a pretty nice backlighting effect on that and do some nice illumination on this kit. Now there's a company out there called Outer Space Outfitters, and I believe their products are sold over at Cult TV Man's website, if you guys have checked that one out. They actually make some replacement screens for this that are made to be backlit, but the issue with those is that you have to cut out all these individual screens here and any panel that you want to light, and they basically go in there in place. So that's a lot of work to do that. If you guys remember, about 2 years ago I built one of these kits and did all that work, and it was quite a bit of work to do all that cutting out. Here we can see the floor panels, and you can see that probably, if I can get a little closer to the camera here for you, you might be able to see that there is some texturing on this, which simulates carpeting, which is kind of a nice effect. And let's go ahead and open up our second bag here, which looks like it includes some more of the floor panels and maybe part of the view screen assembly here. You can see here we've got the area where the captain's chair sits and the navigation helm console. More floor panels here. And as we flip this over, we can see that we get the view screen. Now, if you pay close attention to this view screen is not very accurate, but it's a pretty good representation of it, like I said. And you can get a nice replica of the bridge that'll look good to most casual observers if you decide to paint this up and display it as the original Enterprise bridge. One of the cool ideas that I saw from a modeler out there was they were actually going to build what they call a diorama of this and make it look like the filming set. Instead of building the actual bridge, have some of these walls pulled away with some miniature NBC cameras and a film crew, and I thought that was kind of a neat idea. Maybe somebody will do a build-up like that. So going on further here, we won't bother to open this bag, I guess, because you can pretty much see everything in here. We've got the captain's chair here, which is definitely not accurate. It's a little bit too wide, and the panels that we have on this are not accurate. Here we can see the turbo lift doors, and those are not accurate as well. They should be a little bit wider, but again, those are just kind of nitpicky things. And we start getting into the new parts of the kit here now, and you can see we've got these small little detail parts, which are some of the bridge railing, part of the navigation console. I'm going to go ahead and open up this bag here so we can get a close look at the figures that are included with this. And as you can see, you're getting basically, it looks like, let's see, we've got Uhura here that's obvious, and then we've got another seated figure here, another seated figure, these are obviously in halves, and another seated figure. So you've got Chekhov, Sulu, and a third seated figure, which I guess you could put as Scotty over at his engineering area. And then you've got Mr. Spock here with his hands folded behind his back in his usual pose, and then this other figure here I guess could be Dr. McCoy. So let's see, let's count these in total. You've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so you've got 6 figures here, and you've got what we've talked about on the back of the box here. Let's go and take a look at what they show in that box again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So indeed, we've got one figure that we're going to have to be short here a little bit, which is kind of what I thought. So one of these seated figures is obviously Captain Kirk, and then you've got Sulu and Chekhov. So you're going to have to either go with Scotty or Dr. McCoy as your standing figure here, because obviously Spock is in this certain pose. So you're going to have to make your choice. Now what I'm going to be doing is using these figures to complete my original bridge that I built, and go back and add Uhura and Chekhov. I've already got Scotty in there, so I'll be able to add McCoy now. And I'll probably use this Spock figure because he's in a more realistic pose than the original one that came with the kit. So we've got that all figured out. Let's take a look at these parts here, which a lot of people were curious to see if they did any type of modification to these. You can see that the chairs are basically like they were before. Now these chairs are incorrect. If you look at the original show, they didn't come to a point like this at the very top. They were kind of lopped off here and had a nice straight edge across the tops of these. Now that's a really easy modification to do. I did that on my bridge build-up. I just took my Dremel tool and shaved these down a little bit. And the same thing on these pedestals. I just shaved these down to look more pointed than these basic generic looking X's that you kind of get with these. And you can see that now they've also included a couple of pedestals for the figures to stand on, so you don't have to glue them in place. You could move them around and they'll stand up on their own, so that's kind of a nice touch. Here we have the navigation console top, which actually is pretty accurate. It would have been nice if they would have included a little clear part there for the red alert beacon that sits in the middle. It's just molded on there flat. But you could probably scratch build that yourself out of a piece of clear. And so let's go take a look at the newly included items in this kit besides the figures. And you can see it's these tiny little parts right here. The first one being it's Spock's scanner, which is mounted at his station on the top of his console. That little item he used to look in. Now it'd be kind of neat to drill that out and maybe put a little bit of lighting in there. Maybe you could get a little bit creative with one of these figures too and make it look like he's looking into that. That'd be kind of neat. And then we've got Mr. Sulu's targeting scanner, the one that you used to see pop up out of his console there. So those are the two new items that they included for a little bit of extra detail on this kit. And not a lot there, guys, but it is a little bit of an improvement. And again, this being a very affordable kit, I believe I paid around $25 for it over at my local hobby town here in San Antonio. So it's a very affordable kit. Now one of the nice upgrades that they do give you with this kit is the decal sheet. Now you can see this is a very nice full color sheet. And again, these are nice and brilliantly done and full color. So I think if you put these on some of these panels and they just did some backlighting on this, they would look really nice, and the light's going to come through them and illuminate them very well. And you can see we've got a bunch of different looks here, different scenes from the outer space scenes that we saw all around the bridge. You've got your choice of 3 different view screens, either Baylock, the original D7 cruiser coming at you, or you have, I believe this is from the episode the Galileo 7, where they were looking back at the planet there, whichever planet that was they're on. You can see the little streak of the Galileo going across there when they first spotted it. So that's pretty cool. So comparing this now, let's put some of these parts back in the box, and we'll show you some of the major differences here between this and the original kit from '74. And one of the differences is quite obvious. You can see that we have the decal sheet, obviously, which is very, very ancient looking and almost cartoon-like compared to this original sheet, which is kind of a shame there, but and it's also showing its age. It's getting yellow and things like that. Again, this kit being close to 30 years old, or actually over 30 years old. But you can see that they originally molded this in sort of a light gray color. But just comparing some of these parts to the current molds, it looks like they're identical. I don't see anything different about them at all. The texturing on the floor panels looks exactly the same. And they're just as crisp as the original, so I don't know if they did a new tool on the mold, or if the molds just survived in that good a shape. After all, this kit hasn't been around in several years, so it's possible it could have survived in very good condition and they didn't have to do very much with it. So there's not much else to show about this original kit. Everything in there is pretty much the same. Now, one more thing that we'll show you on the new kit here is the instruction sheet. And you start off with building the figures and painting them. They've got color callouts here on the back, and I'll get to those in a second. But you can see you've got Kirk, Uhura, Dr. McCoy, Captain Kirk, and it says right here, choose from these figures. So they're a couple of figures short. It would have been nice if they would have included all the figures through the entire crew. And here we have the general layout of the bridge floor plan. And then we start adding in these panels here, and you've got the turbo lift doors, and then the helm console, and the captain's command chair, and so on and so on. Pretty basic, straightforward build here, as you can see. We'll flip it over to the back, and here's our decal placement guide, and each decal is numbered individually so they go in the correct locations. And I don't know if they did their homework on that to make sure everything was accurate or not, but you can see it continues all the way through. And let's see if we can find our color call out here. Here we go. You have a few different colors that they're calling for here. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4. Looks like 8 different colors in total. Some testers numbers here. Basically all these are testers numbers. Everything from light sea gray to gloss black to blue, and aircraft black interior, Russian market red, whatever that one is. But anyway, it's pretty straightforward and simple on that. But this is a great kit, and it's a lot of fun to build. Now, one of the things that you might want to think about when you're considering building this model is if you decide to build the full circle of this one, you're going to have issues with being able to see in it unless you come up to it and look at it straight down from above, because it's got pretty high walls on the sides. And so that's the reason that I chose to build my kit back a year or two ago with this. Basically out here, I added one extra panel here to give some more detail around the viewing screen. But so that's one of the things you might want to consider. Or you could possibly build it up and use a magnet system or something and have it so you could remove some of the panels and use some connectors somehow there if you wanted to have lighting on that, be able to disconnect it easily and open it back up. So anyway, it's a great kit. I'm sure it'll be really popular. If nothing else, I bought it just to have it for a nostalgia piece. And I'm not sure if I'll ever build it up or not, but I'm definitely going to use the figures out of it to complete the crew on my other build-up. So there's a look at the classic repopped Enterprise bridge, and a nice side-by-side comparison with the original from '74. That's a wrap for this one, guys. I'll come back in just a second. We're going to set up and have a look at the Moebius Viper Mark I. Be right back with that in a second, guys. Welcome back to part 2 of our double feature today, guys. We're doing a 2 model kit review today on the channel for you. And this one is the Moebius Battlestar Galactica Colonial Viper from the classic Battlestar series, or TOS Battlestar if you want to call it that. This one's in 132 scale. It's a great little kit. I've already had a little bit of look at it. It's very detailed. We'll take a look at a little bit of the box art here. You can see there's some beautiful artwork on the back showing the model itself built up. And I've actually purchased an aftermarket photo etch part kit for this, for doing some lighting on this and adding a little bit of accurate detail on that. We'll show you that along with the kit here. And it's a great little kit. This has always been my favorite version of the Viper. And we're seeing here that we're going to be getting the original Cylon Raider and the Battlestar itself from the original series coming up very shortly from Moebius. So that's really exciting news for Battlestar fans. And let's take a look at under the lid here. We'll pull this first sprue out and have a look up close at the detail on these parts. Moebius is usually outstanding for their detail and crispness on their molds, so hopefully they've carried through the tradition on this kit. You can see right off the bat here we have some nice detail on these engines, guys. You can see all this really fine little intricate detail in the machinery work here. You've got the actual turbines that are molded into the engine duct work here. Some nice screen work there at the inlet on the nose. Some really nice fine detail work. I don't see hardly any flash or dimpling or any other imperfections in this styrene. It looks really good. Here are some details on the wings. We can see some really nice crisp structures here and there, and some really nicely detailed panel lines that'll look really good with some nice a nice pin wash on that. If you guys have ever done a pin wash before, basically you take your brush and just dab a little bit of paint on it and let it run into these little lines on here, get kind of a capillary action, and let it flow in there, and you'll bring out the detail on those panel lines really nice. So that'll be fun to do that when we build this one up. Here you can see we have our second bag of parts. We'll have a look at those. Again, looks like we have more of the engine section here at the rear. You have these beautifully detailed nozzles here with some fine ribbing all along the sides, and this mold looks really crisp, guys. Typical Moebius. I'm really pleased with that. You can see I don't see any imperfections on these parts at all. Here we have the outside parts of the nozzles, which look really nice. Some more detailing here. Very nice. Here is the landing gear assembly. You can see that it actually had sort of a bogey system on that, so it could roll along the ground. And some of the tread work is represented there, and the spring action, the shock absorber action, hydraulics, all crisply done and very nice. And then we have the, looks like we have the main fuselage in here. Let's go ahead and pop this one out of the bag as well. Yes, again we see some really beautiful panel lines done on the sides of this guy, so a pin wash is going to really show up beautifully on this. Here we have the rudder assembly, or the upright stabilizer, and the pilot figure itself, which let's take a look at this helmet here. His face looks to be molded in there pretty nice. I was kind of hoping that the head would be a separate part that could fit inside the helmet, but it looks pretty good. We can work with that. You can see that the detail on his uniform is pretty crisp and clear there. He actually comes molded with his right arm attached to the control yoke inside the cockpit. Here we have a couple of blasters mounted on the that'll get mounted on the wings. Cockpit detail looks to be fairly nice, pretty accurate to the show as far as I can remember. You've got a couple different display panels in here and control screens, and very nice indeed. So let's pop the clear parts out here and have a look at those. Now Moebius obviously had lighting in mind when they designed this kit, because we can see right off the bat that we have some nicely done, oops, we had our canopy come loose there. We'll take a look at that in a second. We have some nicely done engine nozzles there, which have a lot of fine detail inside of that. That's going to look great when it's all lit up. And then we have our canopy here with some nice detail on that. Really clear, crystal clear glass, guys. It looks beautiful. And the nice rivet detail along the panel lines here looks to be really great. And I'm going to wrap that back on some this soft tissue here so we don't get any scratches on that. That's beautiful glass. Really impressed with that. Here we have the display base, which is also molded in clear. That's kind of nice, so you could do some creative lighting on that if you wanted to. And as it mentions on the box, you get an included art print here, which is kind of a nice little touch. Dreams and Visions Press. Okay, so this is a painting by Ralph McQuarrie, and it gives a little description about what that's all about there in the scene, which is pretty cool. And here we have our decal sheet, which you can see it's beautifully done. These look to be bright and crisp. All the markings are on there proper. That'll save some paint work. Or you could paint some of those on yourself if you choose to. And here we have Moebius's instruction sheet. Now Moebius a lot of times has their instructions in full color, but not in this case. But they do have awesome instructions. That was one of their biggest knocks when they first came out as a model company, that their instructions weren't that great, but they've really improved on that. As you can see, if we take you through here, the assembly is pretty straightforward. Starting off with the assembly of the fuselage, the interior cockpit, the rear engine assembly, and so on. Then we get into our wing assembly mounts, our cannons, and our landing gear, finishing up with the cockpit and mounting it on the stand. Now here we have all of our color callouts. You can see that they've got basic colors listed, no specific manufacturer colors named, just things like silver, flat black, pale gray, things like that. A lot of you will probably pick your own colors based on screen grabs or different things. In these shots here we can see the different placements of the decals and the markings, and they're all numbered here, so that'll really be a big help. So again, this is a great kit. Now let's take a look at the additional aftermarket part we bought for this, which is the Paragrafix set. It's listed on Cult TV Man's site as the let's see, what's it called here? It's called the Space Battle Fighter, I think is what they call it. So it's not actually listed on their site as the TOS Viper photo etch set. So you got to be careful when you order this. Just make sure that you're ordering the kit for the new release of the Viper from Moebius and not the old monogram version, because he does sell both. So just check that. It may be listed differently over at Paul's site itself if you wanted to order it directly from him at Paragrafix. But over at Cult TV Man, it's listed as the classic Space Fighter set, but it does say that it's for Moebius. So here you can see we've got the nice screens that we can install here for backlighting, for doing some of the lighting in there, and these inserts go inside the engine housings for some nice effect lighting there, and some beautifully detailed photo etch here, guys. You can see you have some nice exhaust screens here and all the inlays that go over top of the instrument panels. So if you can put some lighting in there, you'll get nice crisp clean lines around your edges and things like that. It's a beautiful set, well worth adding it on, and I'm sure Paul has done an outstanding job with the fit and everything. If you cut them out according to the directions there, I'm sure they're going to fit in there perfectly fine. So that's a look at our Moebius Viper Mark I, guys. It's a beautiful kit. I'm sure it's going to be very popular. I know a lot of people have been waiting a long time for this one. I know I've been waiting for it myself. I can't wait to also get the Cylon Raider, so we'll have both of these in the same scale. And then of course the awesome Galactica itself. Hopefully that'll be a decent size when it comes out. The rumor is it's going to be around 16 or 17 inches, so that'll be great. Okay guys, well here we go. That's a look again at the classic Battlestar Galactica Colonial Viper. I'm going to box this one up off camera, but hope you guys enjoyed the reviews today. And these are some builds that you'll see coming up on the future down the road here in on our TrekWorks channel, guys. So take care out there until we see you next time, everybody. Happy modeling, everyone.